Hello my fellow oddities and welcome to a movie review, but today we're not reviewing a movie made by Christopher Nolan or James Cameron or Steven Spielberg. No, none of those scrubs, okay? We're reviewing a movie by the one, the only, Markiplier. Yes, of course, I am talking about Iron Lung. Whenever I hear the name Iron Lung, I always think about that one line from Mortal Kombat 2021.
He's the reason I live in an iron lung. He's a low-life piece of shit scumbag.
I'm sorry, the Mortal Kombat fan in me is just too rabid. But yes, YouTuber-made movies generally don't have the greatest track record. I think the only good one I can think of is Don't Talk to Me by Raka Raka, and Raka Raka was already known for like their filmmaking skills. Markiplier, he's a gamer. He's not known for making movies and stuff. I know he has like narrative type series and stuff on his channels, so it's not like he was completely unqualified, but like when we're talking about the origins, like Raka Raka definitely had a big step up compared to Markiplier in this regard, and Raka Raka was supposed to make the Street Fighter movie, and I would have watched that movie for them if they didn't drop out of it. Now I'm only watching it for the fucking goat Alexander Volkanovski, who's gonna fucking defend his belt this Saturday. Yeah, I really hope he doesn't get fluked by Diego Lopez. That would make me very sad. But anyways, back to Iron Lung. I had very low expectations for this movie. I didn't really know that much about the game at all before checking this movie out. I knew you were some guy in a submarine, and it came out scarily like around the same time as the OceanGate submarine accident. So yeah, that was kind of creepy. But I didn't really know anything about it other than that. So I kind of went into this blind with very low expectations because, like I said, YouTuber movie. I was shocked. I can't lie, guys. Like, this was actually pretty good. Now, it might be a little bit of, like, that shock exaggerating how good the movie actually is. If I rewatched it, it's probably not going to seem as good as the first time where I'm just, like, super impressed by everything. It's probably not a great movie. Like, if I were to guess, like, objectively, it's probably in that 50 to 60% range. But considering who it's made by for a first-time film by someone who probably didn't go to film school or do any of that, it's very impressive. Now, he does have more of a budget because of his background, because he's so popular on YouTube. He has more resources than not, like, official big filmmakers, but, like, your average first-time movie maker. So it's not, like, that crazy, but still, it's a massive achievement to make a good movie, or even just an average movie, for your first time. When it comes to pros and cons, let's just get that out of the way. The biggest pros about this movie, the two things that, like, actually make this movie for me, the visuals and the sound. They are stellar. I don't know who did the sound and the visuals for this movie. They need to get on more movies, okay? The cinematography was fantastic. There are so many great looking shots, and the sound is so good. It's so, both the sound and the music. The sound is so good at, like, kind of making you feel that dread, that underwater presence in this big machine. It's so good, guys. Like, I would watch the movie with the visuals off, like, and it would still be just as entertaining. But the visuals make it even better because, like, the cinematography and the lighting, everything is so good. Even the visual effects and the practical effects as well are super well done. I don't know who is doing these things and why they're not on other movies, but they need to get on that, alright? They need to get hired more in Hollywood. I would say, in terms of visuals, the one thing that kinda wasn't as great and kind of did feel a little bit more amateurish was the set design. I thought the submarine looked a little bit basic. Like, if you look in other movies, a set like this would probably be a lot more detailed, but I don't know. In this, it does feel kind of fake a little bit, but the lighting is so good that, like, it kind of makes up for it. But yeah, other than that, like, I just thought the concept and everything was really cool. Like I said, I don't really know much about Iron Lung. There's probably some things about the story and stuff, and that's something I'll get into, that is kind of confusing to me just because I haven't played the game and I don't really know what it's all about. There might be some things that, like, I don't know, why does he have to, like, move so much? I don't want to, like, spoil anything, but why does he have to move so much around the submarine? Can't every control just be right in front of him? That's probably just a gameplay thing that has been carried over to the movie, so It's not a huge deal, but it's just like a little confusing to me personally. But yeah, just this concept of like this one guy stuck in a submarine in like this blood ocean thing is it's super weird, but it's honestly really cool and intriguing to see him go around and do stuff. I was really worried that this movie was going to be boring for two reasons. For one, I was a little bit worried Markiplier wouldn't be able to carry the movie just on his own. That was kind of like my biggest concern, was like, how is Markiplier going to do in the acting? And then the second thing is just like, what is he going to do? How is he going to what are the events of the movie that's going to happen? It's kind of the same thing people were saying for a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Is like, how are you going to make a movie where you're just like sitting there looking at cameras the whole time? But they make it work. I don't know about the gameplay of Iron Lung. I don't know like what's going on moment to moment. But I imagine it's pretty similar to FNAF, where it's kind of a routine of things that you're doing. And they make that very entertaining. They give enough like scenarios and unique situations to where you're not really getting bored too much, and that's something I'm very thankful of, because I was worried the movie was going to be boring. And in terms of Markiplier's acting, he really impressed me. Now, there is definitely some clunky dialogue when he's talking to other characters. I don't know, some of that honestly feels like the other actors. I don't know if they're also YouTubers or whatever, but they definitely don't feel as natural as when Markiplier is acting on his own, which is super shocking, because like most people were like, yeah, Mark, like when he's talking to other people maybe he can get some help, but like on his own that's going to be hard. I honestly think that when he's talking to other people he feels less natural, because like when you're acting alongside other people you kind of have that like comparison where you're like comparing to the other person while you're acting, and that kind of makes you feel less natural because you're trying to like alter how you act to like compare yourself to the other person. But I think when he's acting on his own, he is really good in this movie. He really makes you feel that dread and that like kind of kookiness, the insanity of like being stuck in this metal box deep underwater by yourself for so long. And he's really good. And there is the classic signature Markiplier yelling and swearing. So you know what? If you're a Markiplier fanboy, I don't really watch him that much nowadays. But if you're a Markiplier fanboy, fangirl, whatever, fan them, you'll enjoy that aspect of the movie. In terms of cons, like I said earlier with the set design, I'm not really huge on it, but you know, there's the lighting and stuff that makes it way better. The cons I would say with the movie, like I said before, was the clunky dialogue. Like, I don't know, it could just sound a little bit weird. I'd say more on the side of the other actors than Mark, but Mark does also have his moments where it's like, okay, it's clear this is your first time acting, but like it's also super impressive in other areas. So it's not. I don't want to like dog on him. I don't want to be like, you suck at acting. Like you can't do everything perfectly. No. Like this is very impressive from him. But I'd say like the biggest other con was just like the plot. I can't really describe it because I don't really know what happened. Like I don't. It's you can follow the plot. You can follow what's happening, but I think with Mark writing and directing the movie, I haven't mentioned that he wrote and directed and starred in the movie, which is crazy. All for his first time. This is insane. All right, like let's get that out of the way. This is a win. I don't care what the score is on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. This is a win. I just want to get that out of the way first. But with the plot, I feel like he didn't, because it's his first time, he may not have known those subtle details in how people deliver exposition, because like a lot of the stuff in the movie, like there's some times where like a character will say something, I didn't really hear them, and then they'll like never reiterate what they said, so they like reference it back later and I don't really know what they're talking about. So that's kind of more of a sound thing. But like those little things that movies do to kind of remind you of certain plot details or give certain plot information to you that I feel like Mark just doesn't really know fully how to do yet. So a lot of the times the movie can feel a bit messy because like they will explain something, but then you like can't really process it and you like don't really understand it, or maybe it's just me. And then later on in the movie they'll reference it back and you're like, okay, I'm kind of confused, I'm kind of lost on where it's going, what's happened, all that stuff. Kind particularly with some backstories of some characters or the main antagonist, which I won't really get into. I don't really know how to... Spoilers! Yeah, it can get very confusing at times. I was going to say a little confusing, but no, it gets very confusing at times, what's going on, but it's not like a confusing that hinders your enjoyment all that much, because like the other aspects of the movies, like the visuals, like the acting, like all of that stuff, is so enjoyable that it doesn't really matter, and like the story is followable enough to where like you're not going to get completely lost. Like you can understand the basic concept of what's happening, of the guy in the submarine, how that's going. Like you can kind of tell what his status is, I guess. Like, is he in danger? Is he just kind of lonely, not doing anything? Is he kind of going kooky nuts? Like, you can understand that throughout the whole movie. It's just like the specific details of like what this world is, what's going on, what time period are we set in. A lot of that stuff can get very, very confusing because they don't really explain it to you. And I know that's something people complain about in movies, is like overly explaining, but this is a scenario where it's like, yeah, I would have appreciated more exposition, but that's hard to do when you only have one guy, and that guy doesn't really know what's going on either. So, you know what? It's just kind of the nature of the material. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about the movie. Like, in terms of cons, like there are a lot of pros of this movie, and I wouldn't say there's too many cons. Like I said, objectively, this is probably not that great of a movie. Like, if we compare it to like other movies that are coming out by people who have been filmmaking all their life and are really, really committed to it and don't do YouTube side jobs, then yeah, it's probably worse than those. But guess what? It was better than Return to Silent Hill. It was a better made movie than Return to Silent Hill, which was made by, what, his name is Christopher Gans or whatever, who made the first Silent Hill movie 20 damn years ago, so he's been making movies way longer than freaking Markiplier, yet somehow Markiplier made a better game adaptation and a better movie. Alright, so that's a W. I'm sorry. That is an absolute W. I do want to make a video at the end of the year, because there's kind of a lot of video game movies coming out this year. I want to make a video ranking all of them. I think that'd be very fun. Already have Mortal Kombat 2 at number 1, probably. That's probably not going to change unless it's a complete disaster. But, yeah, I really, really enjoyed Iron Lung. I think, even if it's not the great movie of the 21st century or something like that, you should check it out. Like, because it's by an indie filmmaker, by a really cool YouTuber who doesn't seem problematic at all. I think you should go watch it, and I want it to be successful because it shows that YouTubers can make good movies, and like hopefully we get more of them that are this good. And the last thing I want to say is, I touched on this a little bit earlier about the FNAF thing. Why the hell did they not get Markiplier to be in the FNAF movies, bro? This man just proved you can make a movie where you're in one place, just kind of doing things, doing kind of the same thing over and over again, and you can have a 2-hour movie off that. And you didn't get him at all in the FNAF movies. Like, he wanted to be in those movies, apparently he just didn't get the call. What? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. He would have made such a good FNAF movie. He would have made 2 much, much better FNAF movies than what we got. And I'm very sad about that, because Markiplier actually, he would have killed it. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Just had to get a little bit of a rant in there at the end. But yeah, subscribe, like if you want. That's it for this video, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.